So I have a PPT. I will not be going over the PPT totally. I will just cover a little bit of it, and you know most of it. I will share the PPT with you. I already have a PDF out of it. In the course material section of the class, you will see the PPT. Let's quickly go over while we wait for others to join. Right, what is Express.js? See that there? The middle part there is Express.js. On the right is MongoDB. On the left are the requests coming from. So there is an event loop. You know, Node.js runs on the event loop, right? So that is what is happening there. TCP IP call. See that? TCP IP call is made, and then that is that. So what do we do again? In another half an hour or so, we'll start looking at MongoDB, right? MongoDB and how you can talk to MongoDB. So in the center screen there, you'll see Mongoose. See that there? Express.js, event loop single thread because it is a Node.js library. On the right, you see Mongo driver. Mongoose using Mongo driver talks to your database. Now that database talks to your database on the cloud, which can have multiple databases again, right? Database meaning talks to your service provider, the cloud-based service which you're using as Atlas or Firebase, which has your databases, and it gets your information. This picture, please remember, Express.js is using Mongoose here. Express.js can use Mongo client also, but there's a difference. We'll see that a little later. For now, you know why Express.js? It is fast, assertive, essential. We have gone through all this. Like I said earlier, I will share the PPT in a PDF format. You can go over. I'm not going to read over the sentences. It's for you to understand. You can assume Express as a layer built on top of Node.js that helps manage servers and routes. It has robust features and can be used, right? If you have one middleware or the middle person, you can talk to that. That middleware can talk to your MySQL database. Let's say tomorrow you join a really big company, right? That company has an Oracle database where it is storing all the logs or whatever, right? Or some very sensitive information. The same company is using MongoDB for storing certain particular information. The same company is using MySQL for a different purpose. You see what I'm saying? They have their own, let's say, login management system, which is hosted on a, which uses a different database. So you have multiple databases, same front end. So your Express.js is capable of talking to all those, right? So it's just a layer in the middle. Please remember, don't tie up. I like you all to zoom out as and when possible, right? Zoom in when you're working on the code, but then zoom out and get a bird's eye view of what you're learning and how it is going to help, right? So Express.js is not, don't look at it Express.js as something that is only used in MERN stack. You can use it in mean stack, right? Angular also uses it. But again, if you have any other non-document based or NoSQL database or SQL RDBMS, you have another MySQL database, you have any other RDBMS also, you can still use Express.js to talk to it, right? So that is the same diagram that I showed in the front. You see that? HTTP server, then you have Express app, then you have your middleware stack. Basically, this is how it is, the crux. Main features, single page, multiple page, any kind of web pages you want to build hybrid web applications, you can do that. You can do that. It can also, remember everybody, if somebody asks you, can I not use Express.js to fetch HTML files? Don't say no. It can still do it. But in our case, we are using it as solely as the middleware in the stack, right? Dynamically rendering also you can do that. Ignore this slide, please. Our focus is not on that, but this is important focus, pros and cons. So the pros and cons of Express.js, right? So first most important thing, it has routing, okay? I'll explain routing in a moment, but please understand, routing is like you're standing at a, what should I say, not a, so like a name post kind of a thing, where it says you go take right, you go towards Charminar, take left, you go towards some other area, old city, or you take a, take a U-turn and you go back to the newer part of the city, or many junctions are there. So it's like that, right? That is routing. Huge supporting community, of course, right? Third-party plugins, like I told you, Mongoose, Mongo client, you can add anything and talk to anything else. But then, it is, if you are not used to it, it looks like you've read a lot, a little bit more than what you would expect. Provides more universal way of organizing things. Now, this is an interesting thing. If somebody asks you, CRA use and you create the front end. Express.js use and you create the back end part. differences between this and that, front end part and using CRA or white, wheat, however you want to pronounce PID, and back end is an Express.js. There is no folder structure as such, guys. You might have seen, right? I just create a server.js and then I get it running in public folder, then very folder. I named it public. You could make it, assets folder or JSON files folder. You can name it anything that you want. Whereas in CRA, everything is clear cut. There's an SRC folder, there's a public folder, right? Then inside that components and all, it's all up to you. But the folder structure, manage.json should be here. Then you have in the public folder also, if you want, you can manage in SRC. Where is app.js? Can you put it anywhere in your CRA? No. There's a special place for app.js, special place for index.js. So it's all very organized. Whereas Express.js, there is no proper structure as such that it expects you to put. For me, people like me, it is an advantage because it's not forcing me to follow a structure. But remember this, please. When you're working in a team and you're building the back end, and everybody is using their own convention. One uses server.js, one uses index.js, one uses a different name for the public folder. You know what I'm saying? So that is one other con for this one. It doesn't expect you to have a proper structure as such. There's the Hello World application from here on. We have done it all in class, right? Remember, please, you first have to require Express, get an instance of it. We usually name the instance as app. On that, you do a get. And do we all know request response are next? I think we all do. Let's move on. I'll share this so you don't have to worry about how to get the information. Just remember. Okay, here's a question for you all. Please occupy seats in the front. I have a question. I have a system wherein I have one file called requests.log, requests.log. See, when the interviewer asks, the interviewer is not going to ask you by giving you the syntax of the method. They're going to give you a scenario and ask you a question on the scenario. Yes, so I have a file, I'm calling it requests.log, log. I want to make an entry every time. Now this is an Express.js application. I want to make an entry into that application each time a request comes from the front end. I repeat, I want to make an entry in that log file every time there is a request made from the front end. So what do you think I need to do? Each and every request that comes from the front end, I want to make a note of that request. So what do you think will help? How do I make an entry in this file? So you must be thinking, what is there, ma'am? For whenever you say app.get, just after the get, you say write in the log file, right? App.post is there. Inside that also, before you post anything, make an entry, write it into the log file. You see what I'm saying? So for all the gets and posts, for each of them, I can make an entry in the log file, right? But I don't want to do like that. Anybody? What can I use such that even before it goes into the request and response, something can be done? What do I use? Any idea, anybody? You understood the question? When we do app.get, inside that I have whatever code is needed to get from the database. App.post, something. App.put, something. App.delete, something. But before I perform any of these operations, I want to make an entry in a log file saying a request has been made for this, or at this date and time a request has been made. My team lead told me make an entry in all this, Sirisha. So what am I going to do? What am I going to very diligently? I'm going to go to all my 15 methods that I have, which I'm using to write into users collection, whatever collection. And in each of the method, the first line is going to be added to the log, whatever code, right? Console.log or whatever I'll say, and give the file name and say write it. Is that right? Does it make sense to you all? You see what I'm saying? It's like the sign-in register. Every time you get into a place, you sign in, right? So I want something like that. So you're saying I'll have that sign in whenever I enter each block, right? But I am saying there is a better way of doing it. Can you tell me a better way? In the last session, we learned about middleware. What was one of those middleware functions? Do you all remember? Next. You remember next? See that there? I told you that everybody, can you please focus, stay focused? Request, response and next. So far you have been seeing only request and response, app.get, right? You give the path, whatever path, /this, /get that, /do this, right? Comma, callback. In the callback, you are used to using only rec and res. You are used to before last class, but in the last class I told you there is something called as next, right? What does next do? It performs whatever you ask it to do and goes to the next function or next method that is there. So whenever you want to make a log, you can use this. At the top of your Express.js server file, you write that, and then below that you manage all the gets and posts. But even before you perform any of the actual actions, you can use this one. So you say write to the call log. After that, say next, parenthesis, exclamation mark. Sorry, semicolon. It will go next. You see, like that you can chain many nexts also based on how you want to do it. Okay, this was something that I thought will be helpful, because interviewers tend to think, see, these are all real world scenarios, right? They tend to think that you must know all this. In any case, let's go back. Okay, and what is the agenda for today? The agenda for today, everybody, is if you discuss less with the people sitting next to you, if you talk less, then we'll be able to focus and go over, wrap up Express.js, then we'll go over routing. When I say wrap up Express.js, I mean complete routing in Express.js, then we'll start MongoDB, then if time permits, we'll talk to MongoDB from Express, right? Now here's an important thing. This is the penultimate class. The next class, we plan on doing a MERN marathon. Okay? What is MERN marathon? We'll start with React, assuming you all know React already, or we'll do a simple HTML, CSS. Then we'll create the Express.js server. Then we will create a Mongo, and we'll complete one full cycle of an application. Okay, so be present for the next class. The last class, which is on Saturday, everybody. In the last class, we are going to perform the full MERN application, or if it's not React.js, we'll at least do a HTML, CSS, JSS, MongoDB, Express.js and MongoDB. This whole thing we'll try to wrap up in the 1.5 hours that we have, or if need be, we'll use up the PS class also, but we'll wrap up with a project that has all the features that a MERN application is supposed to have, right? Ideal one. So for that, we need to start Mongo today. But before that, let's discuss. Let's get back. Everybody in class, I have created a day 17 folder. In that folder, I'm going to say Express.js, routes for now. Right? How do I initialize? npm init for initializing a node project. Done? Yes. I have the package.json there. What am I going to do now? npm for installing Express, Express. Right? Done? So I go. First time when I install a package, that's when the node modules folder gets created. So I have my node modules folder, and then done. I'll open this up in show more options in VS Code. I'm repeating this so that it stays with you, please. I create a new file call it server.js. Done. In this server.js, I'll say let get my express. So I'll say require, very simple, and express. Done. Now of this I want an instance, so I'll say let app is equals to express. Now I have the instance. Now I have to start the server and have the default route. What is the default route? App.get. Always, any application that you build, first let the opposite person know that you are up and running. Console.log. What do you say? Reached root route. Done? This is clear. Now here we say app.listen. This also takes the port number. I usually run my server at 4000. There, callback. This one takes recres, rec-res. I not only print to the console, but I have to let the response, send the response back, right? So I'll just say response dot send. What do I want to say? Same thing. Reached root, right? Then here I have console.log. I'll make sure I mention it is a backend server. So I'll say backend server running at port 4000. Done. Now I'll go open CMD and do an npm start. Will it work with npm start? It will not. What should I do? In package.json, I'll have to go to package.json and say boss package.json. Anytime anybody says start, please start nodemon on my server.js. This way what happens? Why is my server.js in red? Let me check. Are there any issues with it? App.listen 400, rec get console, I don't see any. No, I don't want to convert it to an ES6 module. So very good. Let's see if there are any issues. We'll see the issues, right? So now I have npm and start. What is it saying? Console.log backend server. I put a semicolon and a semicolon. Let me remove that. Right? Parenthesis and semicolon twice. That's all. But because I have nodemon, control after argument, same issue. I think zooming in is not helping me. One more parenthesis is missing. That's all. Done. So backend server running at port 4000. We have the server running at 4000. Right? Now everybody, in the last class, we talked about public folder. Right? So let me go to day 16. I'll keep day 16 open and keep copying the code from there, and I'll explain that code. Okay? So where are we? EPS, second year EPS in class, day 16, express methods. I had one was next and one was static. Right? I showed you this. I think I showed you this. Did we discuss next in the last class? Let me get these two. I'm going to copy them over to today's session. Control V. Let's go check. I remember showing this where you see that everybody. Remember, it is not get, it is use. App.use. If somebody asks you what is middleware in Express.js, explain. You mention all those where we use, meaning app.use, this is one, where we use next. There is one more where we use course policy. There's one more where we convert the data into express.json. All those scenarios we say express.use. So those are all your middleware, please, right? So here you look at that. I said next, right? Now first block request is request originated. Then it will come here. It will be executed in the order, and it will say reached route, second block. This is what I was talking about. So here I can make any entries anywhere in the log files and say next. Once I say next, it will come and follow through, right? Next here has to be there, and it has to be a app.use. Please remember. Next, whatever I mentioned in the class here, guys, I'm not going to talk about what is going to come or what are the questions that will be asked in your unit tests or in mids. This is all going to be based on what I think might be asked by the interviewer or your person who's going to give you the internship, right? There, this is done, right? Middleware next is done. Now let's look at the other one that I'm very interested in. We have, remember this one please. So you have reached out is there. I talked about static in last class. This is also middleware. You see, I'm saying app.use. Everybody. There are times, for all those who are listening, there are times when you want to give one name to the folder, but in the URL you want it to be a different name, right? You could do this using this virtual path also, meaning you can create a directory by name public, but call this as assets. So when you're calling localhost :3000, you can say /assets instead of public. I didn't want to confuse you because that was the first time you were looking at it. So we have public. Express.static, whatever is the current directory name, and public. So now what I'm telling Express.js is, boss, if you see in the URL, after public, whatever you see, you directly go to this folder and fetch it. Understood? If this folder was not there, you would have to access FS, the file system. And I mentioned in the last class, exposing the file system is not at all a good idea, right? So you put everything in the public folder. Whatever is not so sensitive information, whatever are the assets or resources that your Express.js needs, you put them, not the database related stuff, the other stuff, non-sensitive information, you put them in the public folder or in a folder and give a static to that and give it a /. So throughout your application, you can access those files like this, /public and users.json, /public / images and whatever. Now you must be thinking, where is the public folder? Right? I did not copy that over. Let me just copy that folder over. You see this one, public.json here. Done? So now public, I have users.json. Okay? Let me close this. Right? What do I have in users.json? Let's check. I have 2 documents. These are called documents. I have 2 documents. So what am I going to do with these 2 documents? Let's see what I'm doing in my middleware static. See that, everybody? We are fetching it. Earlier I had an example where I used the file system. Now I'm showing how to use it using static folder, right? Users.json. Here we have response.json. Done? So this is how we use. So you're getting it from there, writing it to the response and sending it. Done? Now, another very interesting thing that I would like you all to look at. Can you all look at the screen once, please? Please focus. I not only want to read the users.json file and get response, but I want to be very specific. I'll give you the name of the user and you are supposed to read the data. From the data, find where the name matches with the name that is coming from in the URL. But how will you read the URL? The response you got as data is there with you. So you say data and then .find. It's going to iterate through the two objects. Remember? Find, map, reduce, all these go over through the complete thing, right? So all your items in your array. So this I say find, lm is the name I gave. I'll get lm.uname. What is lm.uname here? Users.json. This is uname Sheldon. But how do I read what is in the URL, right? I read what is in the URL using what is called as, I don't know why it keeps going, request.params. Very important thing. Somebody asks you on the backend part in Express.js or anywhere in Node, if you're running a React.js or a Node.js server, if you want to read the params, what will you do? In React, we have some hooks and all, but here you can directly, on the request object, you can say params. Always do a console.log of params and see in which format it is. You'll see it will be in a key value pair, right? So you must be thinking, so ma'am, only name. No, you can do ID also. Your exercise today is based on that. Now, can I send multiple? Yes, you can do a /:colon and send multiple. But how do you read them? Here, rec.params.name, right? On the request, go to the URL, get the parameters after the /, right? After the /, whatever they gave, let's say they gave Sheldon or Mima, whatever, store that in the name. So it will map that and store it in the name. To that, you compare whatever is in the data.json and find. Who can tell me the difference between find and filter? Find returns 1. Filter returns an array, whatever matches that criteria, right? But I want only one, so I just said find, and I'm printing it, okay? Now let's just execute this. The rest is history, you know this all, right? Let's execute this one. So this is server middleware hyphen static, right? So let me get that name. I'm going to copy the exact same name because I'm going to share these files with you. So nodemon, not server.js, but server middleware static.js. Whenever I touch the package.json, start, make sure, see, server middleware hyphen static.js. That's what it is running. Let me go back, go to Thunder client, localhost 4000, right? This was from yesterday's session. Always check if the route is working fine. Send, reached, route route, done, right? And what is the other one, please? What is the next one? Users. So I'll say /users and send. You see, I got Sheldon and Penny. These are the data that I got, right? This is the data that I got. Now what do I want to do? I want to test my params. So / and name. / and name. It says 200 okay, but did not return anything. Why did it not return anything? Now I think it's worth putting in 1 minute on this one. There are a couple of things that we can learn from this. What are those things? First, why do you think it is status? Why do you think it is status 200 still? There's no data, right? You should get an error, right? Why am I not getting a 401 error? Please think through and tell me. Why is it not a 401 error? Anybody? When do you get a 401 error or a 404? Take your guess. Why am I not getting an error? Ideally, you go to a website, let's say kmit.in, /, type up whatever you want to type up. You get an error. So / whatever you put there, that is not there in your routes. Then you get the error that I'm not able to find anything with this route. But what is happening here? Is / users there or not there? We have written that route. It is there. But what is missing? Something with the param Sheldon. Why is it missing that? Anybody sitting in the front rows? What do you think is the problem there? People at the back might not be able to see it. People at the front? It's a very silly thing. Spelling mistake. Srinidhi says spelling mistake. She's right. It is not SHELLDON. It is SHELDON. So it could not find data with that particular name. Clear, everybody? So know the difference between when the route is not found and when the route is found but the data matching that filter is not found. Understood? So very important thing. So whenever you get an error, so sometimes you tend to see these things you put in GPT, you put in everywhere, you might get it, you might not get it. But you don't have to go that far, right? Save that for other things. This is a silly mistake. So now I'm going to remove this double L and make it single and do a send. See that? There. So everybody, if the param is missing, you will not get an error. If the route is wrong, you will get an error, right? know the difference, right? So this is that. Now, can I not do it with an ID? Yes, you can also search with ID. What I'm going to do is today's exercise is based on that. I'm going to share this and this, similar stuff. In today's exercise, you will have to write one more of this with an ID, right? Understood, everybody? Now, what is the exercise on? This is the data that you will have to use for the exercise. This is the JSON file. Everyone, from the beginning of FSD classes, from the beginning of EPS sessions, I've always been focusing on reading from a JSON file. First, I told you how to display something in a table. Then I showed you how to display something in a table by reading, right, using JavaScript. It's there as a JavaScript object. You read and do it, I said. Then I said create a JSON out of it, read it, I said. HTML, CSS, JS, JSON, on button click, get the data, display in a table. Then I told you how you can directly read a JSON and display in the console and all, right? The next thing here I'm showing you is a separate JSON file, and this is on, that was all on the front end part. Now on the back end side, I'm telling you that you have to read this file and get the data. The next step that if time permits that we are going to do today is take this JSON, put it in Mongo, because ultimately that is what is going to happen. You're going to read from Mongo, right? So we have been doing a progressive learning for you guys. I hope you're making utmost use of it. So this whole thing could be a movies collection in Atlas, your MongoDB database. And from there you could be reading. But for now, understand how to read from this, right? How do you read a JSON file and how do you parse it and how do you get something based on an ID or a title or a year? All these are some of my favorite movies, movies that I think everybody should watch. I don't know, did anybody watch Shawshank Redemption? No one? One? Excellent. Two? Okay, it's an excellent movie, please. So they're all from a different genre, so up to you what you want to go, but those are all good movies, so I thought it was a good fun thing to have there, right? So anyway, so the exercise is based on this. I'll open up the exercise around 10:30, 10:45, okay? Now before that, again I repeat, today's exercise is about reading from a JSON file which is in the public folder and getting some information. Done? Now before that, I want us to go to routes. Where is our server.js? Here, right? So what I have done, I actually have the code ready instead of me typing. So far you have seen what? app.get. I'll share all these files, you have nothing to worry. So what we have is app.get, app.post, all those you have done, we have worked on. So here's the thing, guys. We already have routes, /users, /that. But when you're working or building a really big application, right? Let's take example of KMIT. You have CSE as a department, CSM as a department, there are many departments, right? Then there's an examination branch, then there's an admin branch. If we were to create specific things for each of these, how adding an admin user, adding that user, creating this, recruiting, many other areas, I would have to create at least 20 to 25 routes. Let me repeat again. Let's take an example of adding a new employee into one department, or I think that we would want to, let's not use that. Let's use something like let's take an example of a university or something. You add a course, right? Online university, let's say. You add a course, you add a faculty, you add a student, you add an exam. You see what I'm saying? Then you edit an exam, you update an exam schedule or something, add a student, edit a student, add a faculty. You see what I'm saying? So how many puts and gets you think might be there? If you take at least 5 routes per department itself, you will get 25 routes. So your file here will get very cluttered. So many routes in just one file. So instead, what Express.js has given us is it says you can use middleware, meaning you can say app.use and create your own routes. Again, I'll repeat, you can create a router in Express.js as a separate JS file. You can say admin.router.js, faculty.router.js, okay, student.router.js. What will that have? Same these things only, but it is specific to admin, specific to student, specific to faculty. So for each of these departments, you can have one router, and in your main server.js, you can simply say app.use. Whenever somebody says /admin, use the admin router. So /admin/add user, it will directly go to that file, right? If you zoom out a little bit, let's say you're working for a company, you are being hired to take care of all admin routes. Your friend has been hired to take care of all faculty routes. Someone else has been hired to take care of all HR routes or something. So you're working on 3 different files. So you're not working on the same file, trying to edit and modify. So this also helps you to scale things a little bit. Tomorrow, let's say that particular college or that particular online university added a new department, added a new area itself for GenAI, right? Should they have to add all those GenAI routes to this one? No. What will they do? You create one router, say GenAI router, and in your main server.js, you simply say app.use /GenAI, GenAI router. That GenAI router will be given to new intern. That guy is going to write all the gets and posts for that particular GenAI stuff. Everybody clear? How many of you understood routing? Could you please raise your hand? Understood routing? Quite a few here. That last quadrant, please. Do you want me to repeat it once again? How many of you want me to repeat routing? One here, a strong one, two. Good. So let me repeat. So more often than not, when you are working with the Express.js server, you are supposed to talk to a database. When you are supposed to talk to a database, there are many kinds of transactions or many kind of actions need to happen, or many kinds of endpoints that are needed from the front end. Add a user, update a user, add a faculty, update a faculty, edit a faculty, delete a faculty. You add one more department, add user to this department. You know what I'm saying? So you have all those get, post, update, delete, everything in one server.js, right? But that is not a very scalable approach. That is very not a very systematic way of approaching things. So what Express.js tells us is, please use my middleware. What is it? You say app.use, right? Behind or in another folder or somewhere, create all the routes specific to that department. Let me repeat, specific to that department. So I'll say user router, faculty router. You see what I'm saying? So basically, guys, you are at a junction. You are supposed to take, there are, let's say, 8 directions you can go in. And you know 2 directions are related. You're updating user, you're deleting user. So you put one checkpoint in the front, say, go here and then take a left or right. One more checkpoint. So this is your server.js, where you have all those routers, where you say app.use student router, app.use faculty router. So even in the URL, or whenever you're calling from Thunder client, it will not be / directly, / faculty, / add faculty, / student, / add student. I'll show you how it looks like. But for now, understand that routing is a very interesting thing, right? So what happens if I have individual files for these individual set of checkpoints, endpoints? Anybody who wants to work on them can focus only on that route. I don't have to give access to this main file for everybody. Tomorrow a new thing gets added, right? A new department gets added. I'll just add app.use, whatever, / GenAI, use this router. I'll create a router file. In that file, I'll have all this. Just segregating things, more systematic and disciplined way, right? The other advantage, if somebody says, no, I want to be able to add a child or some other information to one of the routes, they will not touch the main server.js. They'll go to their respective route, faculty route, a GenAI route, and they'll update there only. So the main one is untouched, okay? Let's look at an example so that you understand it more clearly, right? Do we have that handy? Let me do a quick check. Public, meanwhile I'll share the next and static with you, get them working, and I'll get the routes ready for you. Yeah, let's connect to KMIT I'll give 5 minutes for you to work on it, please, not too long. Server static and server middleware, the next one. You can start looking at them. We are at day 17. Log in as teacher, go to course material, upload material, go to course material. Okay, there seems to be an issue with uploading course material. So let me freeze the screen. I'll share it with you in WhatsApp. Please pick it. I'm going to share 3 files. I'm not too sure why you're not able to upload. I hope the network folks can look at it. At the same level as your JSON file, directly under your project folder, please. Only then it will work. So it is 10:22 now. I'll give you time till 10:25, 27. Check the files that I've given you in WhatsApp. See if they are working fine in your computer. I froze the screen. It's 10:26 now. 1 more minute and I'm going to start this, please. Let us understand this very important concept called routers. Router is like the route that you're going to take. Router is like the traffic police at that particular signal asking you to go in whichever direction. The person that is doing it is your police, but the route that you're taking is towards Raj Bhavan, towards Khairabad, towards Parika Bhavan, or towards assembly, or on the left side towards Lagdi Koppal. You see what I'm saying? So the router is the actual person or actual thing here in our piece of code that is doing the job, right? And the route is the route that you're taking, right? So let's see what we mean by that. Are you all able to see this clearly? Shall I zoom in a little bit? Okay. First, let's look at our server.js file. I need you all to focus. As you can see, the default get, welcome to school management system API. This is there. So this is supposed to be the school management system backend. The front end is ready. In the backend we have 2 main areas, students and faculty. How to read? First is the default route. So localhost 4000 / will say welcome to school management system API. What is the next one? The port and all we know, listening at that port. This is all there is. But where are other gets? Adding students, adding faculty. Do you see them? We don't see them. Because what did we do? We kept the server very nice and clean. And we said anything related to students, / students, go to this particular router. Go to this traffic police. He will take you to whichever direction. Or this signal, you get the idea. Anything that says / faculty, go to this particular router. But how are you creating these routers? What will they have? Let's see. Right? So it seems they are in routes folder, students, routes folder, faculty. Right? Now let us go. Remember, it's not important when you say require, it's not important to put a .js file. They are all .js file. Let me look at students first. Faculty can wait. In students.js, what do I have? Everybody, you understand this now, you are set for the next 3 years. You don't have to worry about how Express.js works. So spare 5 minutes to understand. So this is that students, ideally you will have students data in the database. But here, because we have not gone to database yet, I just put a JSON file. You see that? Same thing. Meaning, straight route. Meaning if you go straight from wherever you are, if you are going straight, you will go to that. Give all the list of students there, please. So if somebody says localhost 4000 / students, right? Look carefully. Here it is students. So / students, and in that a default route, then display all the students. Clear? And after that, if they put a colon and an ID or / an ID, colon is here. In the actual URL, you will not see colon. So whatever the number is there, store that in that ID, compare it. Remember what we did earlier? Parse, because it's in string, you have to convert into number. Find a student and return student for / colon ID. Right? What if it's a post on /? Then you have to create a new student. What does post do? Remember Uber parcel? You have to give it a parcel, right? So from the request, you see that? From the request, get the name and age, create a new student object and push. Everybody, I needed to give you a working example. That's why I added all this. For now, understand how routes work. So /post is writing. Again, put, remember yesterday? So what is the difference between put and post? Post updates, put updates and adds. If it's not there, it will add it also. So this is that. So student.find, done, name there, get the response also, return the response object, whatever is the updated student object, send that as a JSON. Basically everybody, same with delete also, / delete. It is still on the /, but it is a delete method. What I need you to focus is how we have segregated all the functions related to student into a router, called it students.js, right? You see that? This is a very important line, line 2. So this is that second level traffic police that we are getting, and to that we are assigning router.get. We are not doing anymore, we are not working on app anymore, please. It's not app.that, app.this. It is all router, everything. Towards the end, what will we do? We'll export that router and connect this traffic police to the main person. There. How many of you understood this part? Please raise your hand. Anybody understood? There in that quadrant also? Everybody seems to have understood, right? So basically, we are segregating the routes, guys. And we can't just segregate directly. So we create a router, right? You create a JS file. At the top of the JS file, you say, please get me a router, please get me a traffic police. To that traffic police, you say, boss, if it is straight route, you display this. If somebody is asking for some special route, you display that special route. Where? Right? Again, same thing, update, delete. Now here the method is different. Two-wheelers should take a different direction, four-wheelers should take a different direction. And I can go on giving lame examples like that, but you basically get the idea. Now what do you think the faculty will have? Faculty.js? What do you think it will have? Exactly the same thing. See that? So you get a router from Express. On that router, you start writing get. If you say get, return all faculty, which you have here at the top of the page. If it is get with an ID, then get it from the params, find, send it. This is a small mini project by itself that I'm going to share the complete code with you. You can check it and run it and understand it better, right? Similarly, post, right? Everybody, this project is for you to understand routers and routing in Express.js, right? This wraps up or completes Express.js, the main areas of Express.js. What did we learn? We learned how to create the server. We learned how to run a server. We learned how to write the different Express.js methods. Put, get, post, update, delete, all that. How to do app.get, app.put, we learned all that. We learned how to use middleware, app.use, express.json. So whenever you get the request from the front end or from wherever, it converts into a JSON format and sends it. App.use, express.static to get that static folder that I discussed, right? Wherever you want to put all your assets. Then next, app.use, the routers. First one is what? / is the actual thing that appears in the URL, comma, whatever router you have created. Then we have also looked at the other middleware, which is next, meaning if you want to perform some operation and then next go and perform something else on the request. For all requests, if you want to perform, you can use this one, right? App.use, request and next, right? So we looked at all that. These are the main important things in Express.js, please. I'd like you all to focus and practice. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show the working of this for a moment there, okay? Now, the one thing that I think might have got you to thinking that now it is getting a little convoluted is the delete and update part. I gave that to you so that you understand how it is done. That is all, okay? Don't focus more on the deletes and updates and all, because what are you deleting and updating? This one, this object, faculty object, student object. We are doing the same thing here. You see that? Faculty.splice, you are deleting that and you're sending that, right? You're checking the department number, giving that. But ideally, you will not have your faculty inside your, you will not have your data inside your router, please. This is never going to happen. The data is going to be on MongoDB. You're going to fetch it from there and update it there, okay? For better understanding of this particular thing, we have the data here, but data is never inside yours. It's at least in a static folder like I showed you earlier, or it is on the database, okay? This is only to give you a small application that you can run and check, okay? Now let's run and check this application. I'll share this application with you. You start working on it, and then I'll start the next exercise, and we'll also start MongoDB, okay? Hold on. Let me check if the course, the course material is working. I don't think it is working. Oh, I was supposed to show the working of this one, I'm sorry. So localhost 4000, I need 4000 there. Can one of you tell me what will I get now? First let me start the server, okay? Close window. Where is my in class day 17 express routers, CMD, NPM and start, right? Started on localhost 4000. Let me go back. Oh my God. They're going to kill me. My family. I'm opening up everything there. I wish the course material worked. Anyway, I can do it here also. You know, all GET requests, we can do work on them there also in the browser. Here we go, 4000 and send. What did it say? Everybody please to the screen. School management. Done. Right? So let me check. Very neat. Only one default route. Everybody, when you're talking to anybody, whether it's an evaluator of your project, your faculty, your guide, interviewer, anybody, use the appropriate words. Don't say we put a forward slash there now and then we do this now. Don't speak that language. Say we create a router. We use the middleware and set that router, right? So welcome to school management system is here, right? Now what is the next one? Forward slash students. What will happen if I put forward slash students? What should I get, guys? When I say forward slash students, what do you think will happen? Let's check. In routes, students, what am I doing with forward slash, meaning the default route? I'm returning the complete students, this whole thing. So let's see if I get that. Done. I'm getting all the students. So what should I do? If I, what will I get when I do forward slash faculty? You see there? Mathematics faculty, physics faculty. Now you see the separation of routes happening in action, working. Now the same thing for, if I put an ID there, faculty, forward slash and 1. This is the rec.params. I do a send, I get only that one particular thing. Now same thing with students, forward slash 1, John Doe is a student, done. This is how it is done. The only difference is, right now, we have all our data inside our route, which is never the scenario. Because you are not introduced to MongoDB yet in this class, you know it otherwise, I did not add it, right? I'm going to share these files with you. Course material is not working today, so I'll share this work with you. Store it and see if it is working. In another 5 minutes, we'll start the exercise. I'll start MongoDB. We'll look at a little bit of concepts of MongoDB, create a MongoDB collection, and then call it a day. Share the files that I talked about just now. But you must all remember, the path is routes. So you have to create I am sharing the files, but you should at least know which folder they have to be saved to, okay? Done. Again, what is time now is 10:44. I'll give you another 4 minutes to quickly get that code working. Once that is done, around 10:48 or so, I'll tell you Mongo, and at around 11 o'clock, I'll give you the exercise. It's a very simple exercise. You should be done in no time. Are you all able to get it working? Please let me know. All right, everybody. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create the same thing like earlier. Whatever we have, so I'll give you a simple one. How many of you were able to get the code working? Can you raise your hands? The last code that I shared, only 4 or 5 in front. What about the people at the end? I'm going to add that as an exercise. So you please get it working now. I'm going to add the last 3 files that I've shared. That is going to be your exercise. So please get them working real quick. So today we worked on all this, right? EPS in class day 17, express routers. So your exercise is going to be on express routers. If you have any issues, please let me know. Make sure the router, the student, the faculty, make sure those routes are working, please. I'm going to add that as an exercise. I'm only checking on get routes in the exercise. So make sure your get routes are working fine. And if you're done, please, if you're not already signed up, please go sign up at mongodb.com. Everybody, if you're not already signed up or registered, go to mongodb.com and register or sign up there. Use free cluster, please. Don't pay. Use free cluster. Use free cluster. Please go to mongodb.com and register. I know MongoDB and all must have been already taught for you in your database DBMS class. So I am not that worried. You might know the concept already. All right. Let me move on. The exercise is ready. I'll start it in a minute. But before that, let us go over a PPT on MongoDB real quick. Okay? And I'll open that at around 11 o'clock. I'll open it. I open the exercise. It should not take more than, now that you got it up and running, it shouldn't take longer. Everybody, kindly focus for the next 5 minutes. Please try to understand. Close your laptops if you can. Let's understand the importance of MongoDB, what type of database it is, and why we have to learn it. Right? I have a PPT. I'll share the PPT, but still. Databases are of many types. Right? One of the very interesting databases, let me put in like 10 to 15 seconds. Can you give me real quick what are the different types of databases? NoSQL, very good. MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. The types, please. Huh? SQL databases, NoSQL databases, document-based databases, graph databases, right? GraphQL. Where do you use graph? Where there are nodes. Where do you have nodes? Where you have directions and places to go, maps, right? Where you have key value pairs, there are key value pair databases, just a key and a value. Where you are storing documents, that's just a completely document database. NoSQL and document databases are two different things, please, okay? NoSQL is different and document databases are different. NoSQL stores its collections and everything as a document, but not really as a textual or that kind of a document. It stores it as the key value pair as a JSON document. Okay. Now, what is the other one? One thing that many people tend to ignore and do not answer generally is blockchain. Blockchain is also a type of a database, right? It is non-tamperable and a very, very interesting database. So please make a note of it. In blockchain also, using blockchain also you store data, right? It is much more secure. So if your data is that secure, like tenders, like your Aadhars, like social security numbers, you could go for blockchain based database. Now let's not get in too much into the types of database. That could go on and on. I could explain one database per scenario, but let's focus on what we are here to learn. Table, right? You all understand rows, columns there. On the other side we have NoSQL. Here's the mapping, please. You need to know the mapping. A table there is a collection in NoSQL. A column name there is a key here, okay? If you see on the right, key value pair, then there's a document, there is a graph. Then in certain cases you need a lot of space, you have a wide column ones there, different types of databases. Retrieved and stored in the form of a document, or other words, semi-structured. Like that. But let's take an example of Amazon. You have one product with 5 properties, 5 column names. Other product with 15 properties. A Canon DSLR might have 25 properties. A Reynolds pen might have just 2. How do you store this in the database? It is not that structured. Then you go for this document-based database where what happens? Where in document-based databases you can collapse or expand. You can have as many key value pairs as you wish to. Right? I'll share this information, please. Basically, where do you use MongoDB? Unstable schema, distributed schema, big data. Right? You can go for that there. What is MongoDB? You all know this already. NoSQL doesn't mean you don't use structured query language. It means non-relational, please. Who's using MongoDB? Cisco, Shutterfly, Adobe, Ericsson. All these companies are using MongoDB. How do you install it? Remember everybody, MongoDB can be installed as a piece of software in your laptop. We are not doing that. We are using Atlas Cloud to create our MongoDB. Right? Let's move on. The terminology, cluster, database, collection of databases is a cluster. Cluster, database, collection and document. Now, when I shared the PPT, you will be able to look at it. I compared a relational one on the left side and a document-based one on the right side. So you can see it's the same data presented in a different format. Now why Atlas? It's a cloud-based. These days, people do not work locally at all. Nothing is on your laptop. So you need a cloud storage. There are different systems. Google gives Firebase, Firestore, Firebase, many things. Like that you have many options. Microsoft Azure you can use, or Amazon, AWS you can use, Google platform, cloud platform you can use. We are using MongoDB Atlas. You will notice that when you are signing up at Atlas, it will ask you AWS region. So behind the screens, Atlas is also using AWS, right? Why? Fully managed, cloud native, scalable and all. What are the key features? Global clusters. Anybody can access from anywhere. Backup and restore, you don't need a network admin. In our days, 20 years ago, there used to be this guy whose main job is to take backup every night. You see? That is not needed. Backup and restore, monitoring and alerts, serverless instances, data visualization. Please go over all these topics whenever you get a chance. Please sign up. This is how the screen looks like. When you go to mongodb.com and say sign up for Atlas, please make sure you pick Learn MongoDB there at the option. We are not trying to be professionals here. We are only students and we are learning. So please pick Learn MongoDB, dedicated there. By default, so pick shared please. This is how you see by default. Don't go. Click on shared on the right side where it says free and select AWS. Right? So that is your MongoDB. How many of you are connected to MongoDB? Can you please raise your hand? How many of you are on Atlas, please? Raise your hand, that quadrant there. Oh, the whole class is on Atlas. Excellent. You know how to go to Atlas and understand? There are 3 main things in Atlas, but I have given the code to you, so I don't think it will be a problem. 3 very important things. I don't know why. Hold on, please. Why? Okay. Let's see if I can get MongoDB working. You know what, guys? Let me just stop it here, okay? Let me start the exercise and leave it. We'll look at MongoDB quickly in the next class. Even if I run through it real quick now, I don't think it is going to, I'm going to rush through it too fast. Let me open the exercise for you. You all have the code with you. It's working fine. You just have to run it and then submit it, okay? Let me freeze the screen. I'm going to open the exercise now.